Welcome to the first episode of JYD World. And today I'm going to answer the question, does being undefeated in boxing actually really matter? Um, so my honest opinion on the whole thing is this. First and foremost, a lot of people say that Floyd ruined boxing with the whole undefeated thing. Like, if you're not undefeated, then you're not good, or if you got a loss, then you're not good, and all these different things. I gotta beat Floyd record. I gotta be 50-0, and all of the things. Does being undefeated actually matter? Yes, it does, and no, it doesn't at the same time. Um, in stages and in increments, I believe it does actually matter. When you are someone who is just starting off your career in boxing, and you're trying to put all of the things together, you're trying to get your name out there, you're trying to get noticed, you're trying to, take the boxing world by storm. Absolutely, being undefeated is very important while you're early on in your career, because the promotion companies, TV networks, it even looks good for social media, but the promotion companies and the TV networks definitely want to work with you, and it makes them look good too. So let's just say that, even for example, you're a good fighter and you're undefeated, but on a promotional company side, they have a good fighter that they're trying to move and he's undefeated. They'll give you an opportunity. They'll put you on the B side and they'll say, hey, well, this is our A side fighter. He's such and such. And he's one of the more known up and coming guys. They say you're good. And if you're as good as you say you are, we're going to give you a big check. Go on ahead and fight him. You know what I mean? You might be, I don't know, let's just say 10, 12 fights in. You undefeated. And now there's another guy with the same record as you. Like I said, they're trying to move. This guy might got good amateur pedigree and all of the things. So they'll offer you a nice check, whether it be, 20,000, 30,000, whatever that amount may be. So if you just starting off in boxing, especially if you're independent, that's probably, or if you even sign to a local promoter, that's money that you're not used to seeing for one fight. So they'll give you their fight, but in their mind, they're giving you their fight because they know, like, we paying you to get crushed. We're not gonna tell you to go out there and lose, but we're definitely paying you to get crushed. We're giving you this big amount of money because we know you about to take an ass whooping. But you, as that B side fighter, that undefeated guy who's rather independent or signed to a local promoter, it's up to you to be in shape and have that skill level and be able to rise to the occasion for the moment. And you only got that shot, typically because you are an undefeated fighter and your resume and your record looks good. So on paper, it looks like it's a good fight. Oh, now our guy just beat an undefeated guy. But if you get that upset, then your life has potentially changed forever. So yes, in the early stages, being undefeated absolutely does matter, because you want to have that perfect record because it looks good on your resume and it looks good on paper. Now, once you get deeper into the sport, does being undefeated matter? It shouldn't. And I'm going to say it doesn't matter, because sometimes you get a guy like a Danny Garcia, you get a guy like a Sean Porter, you get a guy like um, there's a few guys who fight all of the fights. You know what I mean? Manny Pacquiao, for example, who's a legend. Um, you get guys like that who lost the fights and they still are on that top elite level. Even a guy like Gabe Rosado. Gabe Rosado is a fucking dog. You know what I mean? And yeah, he still fights the fights, and people love to have Gabe Rosado on their card because no matter what, Gabe is coming to fight and he's gonna put on a show. Um, so most people just care if you are there to fight the fights and that you're a man about it. And you're not just gonna lay down and let anything happen to you. Um, that's my opinion on those specific fighters. But does it matter in boxing overall in the grand scheme of things? Yes. And on the flip side of that, it is kind of the Floyd Mayweather effect, whereas though you gotta be undefeated or everybody gonna say you're not good. I don't think Floyd Mayweather necessarily ruined boxing. I really don't. I think fighters have ruined boxers trying to be the next Floyd Mayweather, as opposed to trying to be the first you. Um, and I do the you're not such and such, you're not Mike Tyson, you're not. I do those skits and everything on my Instagram and my TikToks and things like that. I do those skits not to downplay anybody, but to really let people know genuinely, like, stop trying to be these fighters. You're never going to be these fighters. You're never going to be Roy Jones Jr. or Floyd Mayweather or Muhammad Ali or Mike Tyson, George Foreman, or anybody that I covered. You're never going to be them. There's only one of them in existence. Their mother pushed them out, and that's who that person is. You're never going to be them. So be yourself. Be the first version of yourself, as opposed to trying to be like someone else. Yes, you could take things that the greats have done and try to implement it to your style, but to try to be them, and no, you should be fighting out of your own style. And of course you take things from the legends that works for you, but you should be fighting in your own style. But that's trying to beat the next Floyd Mayweather is what ruined boxing. And then we have the fans on the flip side of fighters. We got the fans who will say, "Oh, if you got a loss, then you're not good." And I do believe that with this up and coming generation and crop of fighters, that's slowly starting to phase out of boxing and go out of the window. Because UFC, one thing that I will say that's great about UFC is like some of their champions got 3 and 4 and 5 losses, and like they're still considered one of the best fighters in the world. And that's okay, because they really get in there and they work their ass off. Like, just because you undefeated does not mean you should have does not mean that you should be somebody who's bogarting and holding the belts. Like, that's just I hate that in boxing that that's how it typically goes. You know what I mean? Yeah, although he did lose his last fight, Tevin Farmer, he wasn't undefeated. You know what I mean? And he was also a world champion. You know what I mean? So things happen. You know what I mean? And you can always make a comeback. Manny Pacquiao took a horrible loss, a horrible knockout loss, and guess what? He came right back and became a champion again. So you know, does it matter in boxing? Yes and no. Should it matter realistically? No, it shouldn't matter. As long as the best fight the best and we get great fights out of it, I think that's what the sports needs. But unfortunately, it's not always how it goes. That's not always how it goes. If the best don't always fight the best in this era, unfortunately. But whenever if you follow the money, then you see where it leads. You see where all of the things come from. Where you can have one person that's super duper marketable, and like we can keep him protected and keep him safe, and then keep all his money and revenue coming in, then like that's more important than the fans, I believe, getting the best fights. So that's what the problem is. So does being undefeated matter? Yes and no. Yes, but it shouldn't. And no, because it depends on the stage that you're at. So that's just my take. I appreciate y'all for listening. Until next time, JYD and JYD World.